Councilor Stevens with us?
He should be owner, Mayor.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thanks, Bart. Just didn't see you. Seen a lot of other smiling faces. So it's 5:30. Going to go ahead and call the work session to order. For the record, we have all city council members are present, as are members of the staff. Like to excuse our fire chief tonight. He has to be excused. He's got some personal business that's important for him to attend to this evening, so won't be there. Going to move on down to, I've asked Councilor Stevens to do the Pledge of Allegiance in our city council meeting. Public comment. Does anyone know of any public comment tonight? Okay. When we first started these WebEx meetings, we started doing where we did public comment at the beginning of the meeting. And then at the end of the meeting, people had called in during the meeting. We were allowing for that. We haven't had anybody at the end of the meeting since back when we were talking about Ritter Drive. I think maybe in some cases, maybe depending on the agenda, but I don't know if anyone see a problem if we just have public comment as printed on the agenda for now. Any opposed to that? Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. Move down to the mayor's report. I don't have anything for this meeting. I might come back if we have extra time and talk about a few things. Otherwise, I'll save it for the main meeting. Move on next to city administration report. Mr. Kobe, do you have anything for this meeting?
No, not for this meeting.
Do we have any questions or comments, concerns for Mr. Kobe in the work session on the administration report? Okay. Move on next to the consent items. First consent items, consideration to approve the meeting minutes. These are from November 4th, the City Council work session and the City Council regular session. Do we have any changes or corrections on these minutes? Well, I think everybody's frozen.
It's warm today.
It must be not a movement. So, okay, moving on to consent item number 2. This was discussed a little bit previously on another item, but consent item 2 is consideration to appoint Craig Call as Riverdale City's appeal authority. Mr. Brooks, do you have any comment on this?
Not really for this meeting. I'll just cover it when we're down there. And I think Shady sent you his background information, so you probably had some time to look at that.
Okay. Sounded good. Yes.
I just would comment really quick, if I may, Mayor. Craig Call has literally written the book on land use law for the state. He was, as you guys know, the property rights ombudsman when they created the office, and he's a fantastic resource. So I know he's been in the position for a while now, and even though we haven't utilized him very much, we'd like to make sure that that relationship carries forward. So. Okay.
I noticed just looking at his resume, that paper that Shaylee sent out, he's either acts as the appeal authority for a lot of cities in the state right now, or he has in the past. So He's got a lot of experience, so that's good. Move on to the agenda items. First one is consideration of ordinance 928. This is approving a small subdivision plan for the proposed 1050 West Lot 1 amended subdivision plat. Mr. Eggett.
Thank you, Mayor. The petitioners on this are Anderson, Wallen and Associates, Inc., and also CCA or Cornwallis Group. They'll be represented tonight by Jake Tate, who will be joining us at the main meeting. This is an amended small subdivision plat review for property. It's located on 1050 West, basically the Joanne's property, and then the areas around Joanne's that are undeveloped, both to the north going towards Home Depot and the east going towards Sam's Club, is included in the subdivision request. On October 13th, it did come before the Planning Commission, and it was reviewed for recommendation to City Council. At the end of their discussion, they made a favorable recommendation to City Council to approve the proposed subdivision plan amendment. There were a few minor comments of staff that needed to be resolved, and those have been resolved sufficiently as noted in your packet with staff comments. There's no public hearing requirement for this review, and should it receive final approval, the next steps for it would be for it to be able to move forward and be recorded with the county recorder's office with the Mylar. The ownership is listed under FC Riverdale Shopping Center LLC, and it was previously owned by, I say on here Boyer Group, that's my error. It was Cole Riverdale LLC was the previous owner on that. The general plan guidance for this area is listed as planned commercial high. Clearly, this subdivision still maintains that land use designation, and Joanne's will remain as is, but it does open up potentially other properties that could be developed in the future in that area. Following that, you have the actual language approving the ordinance. And following that, I did notice, Steve, on that ordinance document, there's 3 N's in Joanne's, just kind of a small mechanical technicality right at the beginning in the title. Then thereafter, you'll see the staff reports, and then following that, the application and some response comments to some previous staff comments and engineering comments. And then you'll see after that, the actual plat submission itself. So that should be everything that I think we need for this discussion, and I would defer, Mayor, to any comments or questions that may come up. Thank you.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Eggett on this? Okay. Move on to action item 2, consideration of ordinance 929. This is amending the Riverdale Municipal Ordinance Code to add new modifying existing sections concerning the appeal authority on applicable areas within Riverdale City. Mr. Brooks.
This just goes hand in hand with appointing Craig. As I went through that statute, I found some sections in there that aren't quite worded correctly, so I just corrected all those while we were doing it so that it makes it official. It keeps referring to, in this title he can do this and he can do that. Well, and that title is chapter 4, or it's title 2 chapter 4, when it really should be title 10. So I just cleaned that up. That's how it should be. So there may be some other sections that are applicable, but I kind of don't think so. I mean, when they created this person, it is to review planning and zoning kind of issues. So I just referred to title 10. If something else comes up, like a Jeff Woody kind of thing or something, we'll deal with it then. But I don't know that Craig would even hear that, to be honest with you. So this is just housekeeping, just doing it how it should be.
Any questions for Mr. Brooks?
I had one, Mayor.
Go ahead, Braden.
Hey, I noticed it's like a 3-year contract. Is this something we need to keep him all the time under contract? Or do we have him right now and it's just expired? Or is it something we need to put on our calendar, kind of renew every 3 years? I was just curious.
Well, it's one of those weird things, Braden. We don't use him that much. Like, we've used him, I think the last time was probably almost 10 years ago. So it's kind of weird. I mean, we could keep him on, but Craig's really good about it. If you'll notice on his resume and stuff, and he's proud of this, his first position as an appeals authority was with us, with Riverdale. So he lets everybody know that we broke him in. So, but it's been quite a while. We don't get him that often. The weird thing is we have one that's already been filed, and we have another one that's really close. It's probably going to be filed. So we just don't see him. But then to get 1 and 2 right on top of each other, it's a weird year. That's all there is to it. But I don't know that I'd worry about it. He works with us on the contract and everything. I mean, we'll sign him on the 3 years now, but I'll talk to him when I have talked to him once, but I'll talk to him again when we get down to the nitty gritty part of this.
I just worried a little bit because I knew we kind of had some stuff coming, and I mean, as long as there's no problem with us like needing him and then go out and getting him, like I just worried when I saw those things coming. I was like, I don't think we have an appeal authority right now, but as long as there's not a problem with that.
No, I think we're fine. I'll talk to him and we can see, and we could renew that, but so far we haven't needed it for 3 terms, so it's just a weird deal.
It's been a long time. Any other questions for Steve? Okay, move on to discretionary items. Do we have any discretionary business tonight for this meeting? Mr. Mitchell.
One more question for Steve, and this is just because we have a few minutes, but I noticed in his stuff he's been working on, there was something that said SO lawsuit, and I just wondered if he could discuss that, if he can tell us what it is, or if not, I get it, but whatever.
Oh, in my stuff, I was trying to think what Craig would be working on that was an SO thing. So, that's that we had a shooting down there on, I believe it was 36th Street. I shouldn't say we did, South Ogden. That's what the SO is for. They had a shooting there a while ago, and they filed on everybody, but they haven't filed on us. They sent us the letter of their intent, their notice of intent to file on us, but we haven't officially been served, which is a little bit weird. We didn't have any of our guys fire or weren't directly involved, but the claim is that our guys didn't come to the rescue, I guess, fast enough. So that's all that is. I haven't seen the lawsuit. I just know that it's in the works because I have
from
received
South Ogden then? Like,
yeah, South Ogden is the main party in that, and it was their officer that shot the guy.
And
at least allegedly.
Who's saying we didn't get there fast enough?
The party, the plaintiff that's suing. I not that we didn't get there, that we didn't rise to the level of stopping it, I guess. I don't know what they're going to exactly claim, but all I've received, in fact, I've received it twice now, the notice of intent to sue us, which is what they have to do by law. And I've spoken and met with our attorneys. We've got our attorneys lined up and everything, but we haven't received the official lawsuit, where I know a couple of the other cities have. So I'm not sure what's going on with it yet. Just we've had to do some work and we're still waiting.
Got something else, Brady? Just waving, huh?
I have one.
Go ahead.
I sent an email earlier just about the Tullis property for the Aunt Nancy's or Riverdale assisted living or whatever that is. And I think Bill was going to look for codes or anything. And it's fairly short. It's only been like 24 hours or something. So I was just curious if there's anything with that to possibly clean that property up. And because it's been 10 years that property has been in the Aunt Nancy works. So just curious now that we've put this sidewalk in and everything, if there's anything we can do to get that property cleaned up.
I don't know if this directly answered it, Alan, but that's in the works of some new development right now. Not development, some progress on it. Mike could tell you a little bit more about that. Which, by the way, Mike, I understand our sign got knocked over up there for your public hearing notice.
I put it back up today.
Okay.
I put it in more firmly, so that won't happen.
The short answer, Alan, is it's going to be coming back before the city, which I'm sure they can address those kind of things as part of that. So, if you agree with that, Mike.
The other thing to that, Randy Coger did go look at it, and he will be sending them out notice. It was processed today, so I'm sure it'll go out tomorrow. So they'll be notified to clean that up.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any reason they couldn't clean it up, so make it look halfway decent. So, okay. Any other discretionary? Okay. I've got a few things. I've got a mayor's report. I'm going to go through some of this with you just in the interest of time because we really don't have more than one or two that watch these unless there's something hot on the agenda. Can you all hear me okay? Okay. Just wanted to thank everybody that was involved with our Veterans Day program. This was totally different this year, a virtual program versus the in-person live program that we've had. Memorial was dedicated 10 years ago, so we've had 10 of them, and I know they had a program before, but this was different. We actually, I guess the good news was we got it all filmed for the bad weather, so that was good, but just want to thank everybody, and that's Rich and Chris Stone that they filmed at different times. I know Rich was even out here on a Saturday filming. To do that, Chris, I know, did a lot of editing. I don't know how much Rich was, but Rich was involved. Braden was the MC, pretty well the same cast as in the past. We had T.H. Bell Junior High Choir. I thought they did a superb job. They even sang with their masks on and sang really good. And they were social distanced. And they did that up at the school just for safety reasons rather than coming here. Jim Simone, the bugle, Brigadier General Collie von Hoffman, she came, spent the afternoon with us for an hour or so. It was really just kind of fun being with her. She's a fun person. I've known her for quite some time in other capacities, but to have her here and thought her talk was, there was a portion of that. I wouldn't drag this on, but we got 10 more minutes or so. But there was a portion of that while the general was speaking, the camera autofocus started focusing on the waving military flags behind her, which threw her out of focus. And this was partway into the program, but Chris went to the base for this portion. He got permission from their public affairs office to use some photos, and he blended the photos in just right with what her talk was about. And to me, it was a superb thing that Chris did. It was really good, and I know she was really excited when she saw it. She loved the photos, and it helped give a little credit to the civilian workforce. There's 20,000 people, she mentioned, go to work out there every morning. I don't think there's that many go right now. A lot of them working at home, but normally there's 20,000, and a good majority of those are civilians, and they're the ones that, we recognize our veterans and Veterans Day, but we've got all this massive workforce at Hill that does a superb job, and that's why Hill's doing part of the reason why they're doing what they're doing today. But it was a credit to them. It was a credit to the military thing, the photos. And I know Braden saw it before, didn't you? Before, saw it both ways, but it was really a great addition to see that other version with the photos in it, because it really added a lot, and it was really good. And we had that Mount Ogden Brass. They joined in with us, came here one afternoon. They videoed them with some patriotic music and other music. But it was really good. But normally we have about 200 people max, I would say. Even, we usually have an elementary school or somebody come, and that counts the children and their parents. But we usually think on a good day we have a couple hundred, but I checked this morning on our Facebook post, we had 770 views. On YouTube, there was 103, so there was about 873 views on that. So it's really pretty successful. Did they watch the whole thing? I don't know, but I think people interested would have. That was a great tribute to our veterans. Rich, thank you, Braden, and those of you that are here tonight, because it was, I got a lot of really, really good comments about what a really great program that was. And thank the city for having a program with what's going on with COVID. So I think, Mike, you talked about the old Best Buy building, right? I think I caught that. I had to go downstairs for a minute. You were talking about that. I know he's got it in the packet. 5 Alive is moving into where Pier 1 imports are. They're on their way over there. I looked them up on the web, and so I remember that's a national company nationwide. I think they even had some businesses outside of the country. They have a lot of things they bring in there. And I think most of it, isn't it, Mike, sells for $5 or less. It's Five Below, so that's where they get their name. But so that's coming. There's interest in the old Crown bedroom building, and we may see somebody in there in the not too distant future. That's all being negotiated right now. Zeppy's exterior, they got a lot of work done in a hurry. They got that drive-up window, all that concrete poured, and they got it paved just a few days later, and trying to beat the cold. And so I think the exterior is pretty well finished. And so I know Mike Haggett saw this today too, but there's a note on Riverdale Citizens page this morning that Zeppy's is now hiring and taking applications. So that place is about ready to swing, and I think they'll do really well there. I think we're pretty excited about that. I think Bill Kobabe in our little meeting we had this morning mentioned, yeah, just in time for ice cream for Christmas. So anyway, a couple things. We still got a few minutes. COVID-19 numbers. We get that chart. I get that chart from Melissa Freitag every few days, and it shows how many cases we've had in Riverdale, total cases, and the other cities in the county, and the county as a total. But Chris, I'm giving those to Chris. Chris is putting them on our city Facebook page every few days. So if you have an interest, that's a good place to be, and you're interested in those numbers. But the one that came this afternoon said there are 24 new cases in Riverdale in just the last 5 days. And that's really a bunch. And in the same period, 5 days, there were just about 800 new cases in Weber County. So this thing is moving right along. And I attend a meeting every Friday morning, Weber County. It's called the COVID/CARES meeting we have with the county, the commissioners, the health department, the other mayors in the county. But some of this is probably, you already know this, but they've told us that with the vaccination, they should have vaccine. They said about the 15th of November. So they expected that to start arriving in the state. It's made by Pfizer. And it's a 2-shot series. You have to take 2 different shots of it, but it's about 90% effective. Braden, you already know all this, I know, being a pharmacist. But anyway, they said that it has to be kept at minus 80 degrees cold, and it won't be approved by the FDA. They told us initially about the 1st of December. Now they're saying the first week or 2 of December, but at least there's some hope there. It looks like with this thing that maybe they can get it under control. So I know there's some people that are, there are about 3,000, was it 3,200 new cases today and 9 more deaths. So it just keep marching along. So you have any questions on any of that I brought up? Let's just hold off then. Unless someone else has something, let's hold off till about 6 o'clock, then we'll start the other meeting. That'll give you time, those of you at home, to run and take care of business if you have any.
We move to adjourn?
Yeah, probably good. Is that a motion, Al?
Yes, sir.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This work session's adjourned. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Mayor, while we have just a second, I got kind of a weird survey on my email at work yesterday. They're kind of gearing up for things, and they were like, okay, we're trying to get a count, and if we had access to the COVID vaccine, would you want it? Would you want it for your family members? And it was like, whoa, this is starting to get kind of real all of a sudden. So it's interesting.
Well, that's great. Yeah, they talked like healthcare workers first, and they had kind of other high risk people, and that's good. They're getting a survey. How many would? I would think most people would want to. Of course, there's always some that probably won't, maybe for different reasons, which they're certainly entitled to. But it's a good thing. Talking to Chief Brinkman earlier today, he said that one of our officers just returned from a bout with COVID-19, just got back to work, and I guess his dad's in the hospital on a ventilator, and he's not doing well. So he said he's not really that old a guy, so we just kind of hope and pray for him. It'll be good. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had 2 more officers test positive today, so we're going to be short-staffed and crossing our fingers.
Can you swear me in? I'm ready.
You only get 1 bullet, though, boss. It may come to that.
I can drive those Chargers. So. I'm qualified on the AR-15 too.
There you go.
Hey, Mayor, Scott told me that guy was old, and then he looked at me and he said he's about your age. So I felt really good about that. You did.
Well, you are pretty old.
He's talking to you, not me, right?
I feel it now, thanks to Scott.
Yeah, it's funny. Age is a perception. Yeah. But we'll all get it, huh?
Braden, isn't it your son's birthday today?
It is his birthday today.
What are you doing at city council meeting?
We're going to go get some dinner if we can get this thing wrapped up.
I like the sound of that. Let's keep this moving.
Let's get a consensus for that.
He's 11, right? How old is he?
He's 11.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Saw it on Facebook, so that's cool. I didn't know if you're going to be here tonight or not.
I'm watching the show on Netflix called The Social Dilemma, and I'm kind of getting a little nervous about Facebook all of a sudden. Like,
And Google.
yeah, all of them. So it's kind of hard because we have to kind of do it for the city stuff, but it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that video scares me to death. I didn't realize that we were tracked that well.
Is it 6:02 anywhere else?
Well, it's 5:59 on my Fitbit.
Rats.
But looking down at my iPad, Alan, it's actually 6:02. So we'll go ahead and start. So, like we're still missing one, but we're okay. Okay, let's go ahead, call this city council meeting to order. Tuesday, November 17th, 2020. For the record, we have all city council members present as members of the staff. We also have some business people here, petitioners with us tonight. If there's any members of the public that are here, we welcome you. Welcome those of you that might be on YouTube. I've asked Councilor Stevens if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Would everybody please rise and repeat after me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's be seated.
Looks like we didn't get our flag up. So.
I apologize. I don't know what happened. It locked up on me. So
No, that's
The
fine.
chief had his behind him.
He had his there, yeah. I didn't see that. I held mine up to flag behind me, but I don't know if you can see.
Shaylee's got the corner of hers too. It was all over the place.
Good, good. As long as we got flag. Okay, at this time, we'd like to take a moment of silence to remember those who are serving in our military, along with our police officers and firefighters who are ready and willing to put themselves in harm's way in our behalf. May we also remember our city council this evening as they ponder and make decisions. Let us now take a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Move on next to public comment. Do we have anybody present for public comment? Shayla? Don't see any. No emails, any text. Rich, you seen anything?
I don't have any text, Mayor.
Okay. Okay, move on from public comment. We're going to move on to city administration report. This evening, do you have anything for this meeting, Mr. Kobe? I know it's all in the packet.
I think you have the things in your packet. I guess I should have included some things for myself in the packet as well. I didn't realize that you might be looking for that kind of thing. I plead ignorance for this one time, and I'll make sure that gets in the packet in the future. I have been, the term that I've been using is that I've been drinking from the fire hose a little bit, just trying to get up to speed and make sure that I am aware of what's going on as much as possible. Meeting with department heads. We've got our first staff meeting scheduled for tomorrow, and the mayor and I have been around the city to look at the different city facilities, meet with staff, and we went on a tour of the city and spent some good time looking around at the different projects and different neighborhoods and things in the city. So it was a good introduction. We've also, Mike and I have met with, and he's outlined that in his report, but we've met with developers and property owners and other stakeholders. And there's some great things going on in Riverdale, and I'm so excited to be here. This is a great time for Riverdale, and we have an amazing crew. My coworkers are amazing at what they do, and I'm proud and privileged to be a part of this amazing team. So that's my report. You have the rest from the others, and I'll defer to them on any comments or questions that you may have for them.
Do we have any questions? Councillor Mitchell?
I had one thing, well, two things actually. In the sales tax report, the graph on the left has not been updated to show fiscal year 2021. The colored graphs, and so you can have Cody work on that. And then, Bill, I was going to tell you, a long time ago when I started doing this, we were instructed to always go straight to you if we have any problems, rather than going to like the department heads. And so that's kind of what I'm going to keep doing. And then let you filter that out. They didn't want us going to the department heads and feeling like we were, asking them to do things. So like we have a light out, a street light down here in River Glen. I will email you the address, but that's why I'm coming to you rather than going to Sean Douglas and letting him know about it. So
no, I appreciate that very much. And obviously, if there's something that's of an emergency nature or something that needs to be done, and I'm either not available or whatever, please do get in touch with the department heads in that kind of a situation. But do copy me on any emails or things like that. Just I'm more interested in knowing that things are going on so that I can follow up with that in the future with the department heads or whoever. And so that's how that communication I would like to see that continue. So if that's been the norm, that's my preference, and that helps filter and mostly, like I say, make sure that I can follow up with department heads on into the future about the different projects. So that's perfect. Thank you. And I will speak with Sean about that street light out.
Okay. Any other questions on the city administrator's report from any of the staff? Move on next, consent items. Consideration to approve the meeting minutes from November 4th, 2020, the city council work session, and also the city council regular session on the same date. Do we have any changes or corrections for this meeting? Okay, seeing none, let's see, let's move. Should we approve these separately? Let's do a motion on the first consent item. Do we have a motion on consent item 1?
motion to approve consent item 1.
Second?
Okay, motion by Councillor Mitchell, second by Councillor Ellis. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous in favor. Move on to consent item number 2. This is consideration to appoint Craig Call as Riverdale City's Appeal Authority. Mr. Brooks.
As I outlined in our planning meeting there, by our code, this used to be done by a group of people. That's why when they call it an appeal authority, it used to be a number of people, but the state changed that years ago and allowed cities to just use one individual. Right shortly after that happened, I think I was at a conference somewhere, and Craig Call was actually speaking there. And I went up and talked to him afterwards just to get ideas on people we could use. And Craig actually he did at the time, I think he still does, lives in Plain City. So he's fairly close. And Craig volunteered right then. He said, I'd love to help you guys out. So we used him back then a number of times. And then we haven't used him since. We haven't had any issues come up. So we haven't pursued it any further. And it has come time where I know we have one right now ready to go and another one in the hopper. So I contacted Craig a couple weeks ago, asked him if he was still interested, if he could help us out. And he said he'd love to. So that would be my recommendation. I had Shaylee send out that resume of his. there's, as Bill said, there's probably nobody in the state that's more qualified than him. He's been the guru of property issues forever. He's fair with us, gives us good prices, good deals and everything. So that would be my recommendation. It's actually an appointment by the mayor with the advice and consent of the council. And I'd bounce this off of the mayor and Bill as well. So if you have some questions, I can tell you more, but I don't think we'll find anybody better. I don't even know other people that do it. I'd have to beat the bushes on that one. We've never had to, because Craig's always been good. And like I said, there's not anybody more knowledgeable and informed than he is on property rights issues. So,
Any other questions?
Hey, I just have a comment.
Go ahead, Alan.
If we could get some sort of feedback or anything, I know we haven't used him for a long time, but if anything that's ever been done, I'm not aware of it, and I'm not saying that I'm Johnny on the spot or anything, but as he approaches things and looks at things, if we could get some sort of feedback so we can know what he's thinking or what we could learn from it or anything like that, I think that it would be really great.
as far as like when he handles this thing, he'll issue an opinion. Is that what you're looking for? Okay.
Yeah. So if we could get looking at like the one that's coming up where they want to take the setbacks, change the setbacks a little bit or whatever, and if he says yes, he's approving it, and then why?
Okay.
I think that would help us out.
Okay. Yeah. When I get that opinion, I'll get it in the packet.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, it's a good idea, Alan. Thank you. That'd be good to. Go ahead. Is that you, Bart?
Yeah. Just, Steve, thanks for sending out that, his resume, recognizing that the more, when there's an appointment, the more we have on somebody, the easier it is to do our role of advise and consent. I mean, we just went through probably the most significant appointment with a city administrator, and we got nothing before the votes. And so barely got his name only because it was asked what his initials stood for. So appreciate that you put out, even though it wasn't in the packet, there was an effort made to get the resume and get information out. Thank you.
Yeah, I had that before the packet. I asked Craig to send it to me. I wasn't expecting to get that much detail, and I hadn't cleared that with him. That's why I didn't put it in the packet. And so I asked Shaylee to hold on till Monday to send that to you guys. But I had you in mind, Bart. I could hear those words in the back of my head, just like I do Alan's sometimes. So I knew you would want something. That's why we sent it to you.
It's hard to do your job of advise and consent if you don't have information.
I'm just kind of kidding you, but I did tell Shaylee, make sure we get this out so they have something to look at before we get into the meeting. So
Next time, Bart, we'll send you all 30 resumes and you can sort through them. And you give us a little better help on when the consent comes. So.
Well, at least a name and a resume would be a minimum.
Yeah, but I don't think we're going to put all these resumes. Well, we could for the one individual.
Or at least whoever you choose to appoint.
Well,
I'm going to be here for 20 years or more, so there won't be any need for that.
There's a lot of appointments.
Move to approve consent item number 2.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Fred's got a birthday dinner.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold. Okay, move on to the action items. Consideration ordinance 928, approving a small subdivision plat for the proposed 1050 West Lot 1 amended subdivision plat. Mr. Eggett.
Thank you, Mayor. As we discussed in the previous work session, the applicant is Anderson, Wallen and Associates on behalf of CCA and Cornwasser Group. They're represented tonight by Jake Tate, who is with us, joined us. This is an amended small subdivision plat for the Joanne's property and undeveloped parcels around Joanne on 1050 West. This did go to the Planning Commission on October 13th, wherein it was reviewed and later recommended with a favorable recommendation to City Council for approval. There is no public hearing required for this subdivision request, and should this proposal move forward, it could then be placed on the plat and move forward for recording with Weaver County Recorder's Office. The current ownership listed is FC Riverdale Shopping Center, LLC. And I believe the anticipated use for the new lots will be for some kind of a site plan commercial development plans. They have some ideas that they are discussing. So we'll see where that goes after considering this. The general plan use for the property is currently set as planned commercial high. And this proposed subdivision, with its intent to continue with retail commercial opportunities, does easily comply with the land use designation. You'll see in your packet ordinance number 928 thereafter, prepared by our city attorney. You'll have staff review comments from myself and the other department heads that are associated with this request, and then comments from our city engineer. Prior to coming to the meeting, there were a few outstanding issues that the applicant has addressed before resubmittal, and you'll see those review comments following their application in the packet. And thereafter, you'll see the actual plat section itself. And that's really the long and short of it. I really don't have much more, Mayor, and I'll defer to you and the council if you have any other questions or comments for me or the applicant. Thank you.
We're getting a lot of feedback with your speaking, Mike. Sounds like you're about half underwater. So
yeah, I
don't know if anybody else can turn us off that's in this building, maybe at home, but something's happened. We're getting it back. I don't know how the rest of you heard it, but it wasn't too good here. Maybe it's because we're both on the same level here in the building. So,
Mayor,
go ahead, Alan.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 928 as stated within the packet.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion. We have a motion, Councillor Arnold, a second from Councillor Ellis. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr.
You said a representative for Mr. Tate is here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, Mr. Tate. Okay, thank you. Now, in the presentation from Mr. Eggett, he did acknowledge that you are looking at commercial, keeping it commercial. Is there going to be any zoning for future use? Are you planning on doing any zoning changes?
No, everything we've done at this point is commercial related, and the site plans that I've laid out have all been commercial in nature. There have been no discussions as far as changing the zoning of this particular lot or the lot that's being created.
So, I mean, meaning it's not going to be a high density residential then. It's going to be retail or something of that nature.
To my knowledge, that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Miss Nay, would you poll the council, please, on the action item?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Unanimous in favor. Let's move on to action item number 2. Consideration of ordinance 929, amending the Riverdale Municipal Ordinance Code to add new or modify existing sections concerning the appeal authority on applicable areas within Riverdale City. Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Mayor. As I mentioned in a pre-planning meeting, this is just cleaning up that title there, or that chapter. Actually, when this was written, it was plugged into this section that talks about boards and commissions. As I mentioned previously, we used to do this as a board, but it makes reference to this title and his authority under this title and stuff like that. That's technically not correct. I mean, his authority or the things that he deals with is fallen under Title 10 rather than Title 2. So I just cleaned that up, a couple of little things too, just to make those read better. So this is probably not probably, it is better than what it was, and it makes it more appropriate and it fits better and applicable and gives him full authority that he needs at this point. So,
Any questions for Mr. Brooks? Seeing none, do we have a motion on ordinance 929?
Move to approve ordinance 929 as stated within the packet.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilor Arnold and a second by Councilor Mitchell. Any discussion on the motion? Ms. Snee, would you poll the council on this ordinance, please?
Aye.
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 Unanimous in favor. Thank you. Moving on to discretionary items.
I have one, maybe. In the pre-planning, you mentioned about the participation through the social media of those who observe the Veterans Day. The number is probably a little considerably higher, at least that from my observation that I was made aware of by my wife, that it was being shown in the classroom. So, you know, you had one click as a, you know, the channel being accessed, but it was being shown to 25, 30 kids. So, you know, it really did get a lot of good, it was a good video, but it was also a good presentation.
Thank you, Bart, for mentioning that. Yeah, I did see that, at least I knew that Mrs. James up at the school had showed it to her second grade class, and she said they loved it, and she did too. So it sounds like there were other classes, probably your wife's class that also watched it, but it was a great thing. Thanks for the comment on that. Any other discretionary? With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We have Councilor Arnold and Councilor Mitchell. Motion and second. Enjoy your dinner tonight, Braden.
Thanks.
Yeah. All of you have a good evening. Thanks for being here. Meeting's adjourned.
Aye.
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 Bye.